the second section, 0.2 multiply functions, looks like this. So this one says f of x times g of x. So when I write this down, I'm going to write parentheses negative 5x, parentheses 3x squared subtract 3. That's going to look like this. And if you can remember, when we multiply polynomials, you multiply coefficients and add exponents. So multiply the big numbers, add the little numbers. So negative 5 times 3 is negative 15, and 1x plus 2x is 3x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15, and the x here is just going to drop down because there's no x on the end. So my answer is negative 15x to the third plus 15x. So negative 15x to the third plus 15x. Okay, so the next one, the f dot g of x just means f of x times g of x. So I'm going to write parentheses negative 3x plus 1, parentheses negative x squared. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to distribute. Typically, I usually like to write the single monomial in front and distribute it back, but it doesn't matter either way. Since that's what I usually do, let's do that. All right, so a negative times a negative is a positive 3, because that's negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3, and this will be x to the third. Then a negative times a positive is a negative 1, and this x squared has nothing to put with it. So it's 3x to the third subtract 1x squared, which is the same thing as just subtract x squared. We don't even have to put the 1 there. So 3x to the third subtract x to the second. Okay, let's jump ahead a level and see what the next few look like. Because that's the same thing, that's the same thing again. Okay, here we go. We've got a binomial times a binomial. So you remember how we do that? The FOIL method. So 4x plus 6 is in parentheses, and then 3x plus 1 is in parentheses. So I come over here, I'm going to do first, outer, inner, last. 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times 1 is 4x. 6 times 3x is 18x. And 6 times 1 is 6. Combine the middle. So 4x plus 18x, what, 18, 22? And then plus 6 falls down on the end. All right, so let's type that in over here. It'll be 12x to the second plus 22x plus 6. Again, FOIL method, it's a binomial times a binomial here on this problem. So let me skip ahead and see if they get a little bit more difficult. And I'm in the challenge zone, but even in the challenge zone, this is still a binomial times a binomial. So it's just going to be FOIL method again. 3x plus 2 times 3x squared subtract 5x. That would look like this. So 3 times 3, that's 9x to the third. 3x times negative 5x is negative 15x squared. 2 times 3, that's 6x squared. And then 2 times negative 5, that'd be negative 10x. Combine the middle. Negative 15 plus 6 is going to have to go together. So negative 15 plus 6 is negative 9. And all the front and the back, they just drop down, those terms. So 9x cubed, subtract 9x squared, subtract 10x. 9x to the third, subtract 9x to the second, subtract 10x. Okay, so hopefully this will help you guys get these finished. I'm going to make a few more videos with some of the other sections. You can see here my cat Jack says hi and miss you all.